had a good look round. No sign of any bovine. So that's a good thing to start off with. Well, I got a new hammock. Yeah, so 9'6". I'm going to find long span of tree. I also have a new ridge line for the hammock, which is an adjustable ridge line, a cinch button system to suspend the hammock. The actual hammock is by Therm-a-rest. It's called the Slacker, and with the ridge line it is automatically, for me, set to 82% of the length of the hammock, which is how you initialize the sag of the hammock. But I think that's going to be too tight for me, and I can pitch up first and then have a brew at my own leisure afterwards. Now, my biggest complaint when I'm rucking some kit in is the weight of the water. I used to carry it in an LRRP on a shoulder sling. I've tried carrying the water up high in a camelback. It still seems everything has to either be carried handheld or on the pack, in the pack, and it's a lot of body space that's not being utilised. I have had water bottles on a belt, and like I said, I've used bladders and camelbacks and things like that, but I've gone for this arrangement today, which is the water bottles. These are 750ml each on beaners, and I've carried it in, no problems at all. It has really displaced any weight of water, and I know I moan about it a lot, but kilo a litre, you got 2-3 kilos of water there in 2-3 litres. It's a lot. Now, the Therm-a-rest that came is the Slacker hammock, and in the display online it looked like a lovely tan colour. Now, it can be deceptive, these photographs when you're buying online, but this is bright yellow. But don't worry, we're going to hide it. Okay, I'm going to take the pack off and start setting up. I haven't got a top blanket. I've had to improvise with a sleeping bag. There's not a hell of a lot of weight in it, but it does take up a lot of volume in the pack. I built out the 65 litre pack, which is mostly sleeping bag. I have the underquilt on top of that, and the hammock and the tarp. That will do there for now, and now I can start setting up properly. This is today's luxury item, a little folding stool, but the underquilt, as you can see, hardly any volume at all. I'll just remove the hammock and anything else that isn't a top quilt. So there's the hammock, back to that in a second. Little air pillow, back to that in a second. So here's part of the 65 litre pack, which is just sleeping bag. Whether you put it in its compression sack or not, it's not going any less than that. It's kind of volume it is, 25, maybe 30 litres. Now here in comparison is an entire down underquilt. You can see it is half the volume. So this is the little hammock, and this is actually its colour. It's bright. Like I said, the beaners it comes with are actually Therm-a-rest beaners. Now, this is a polyester hammock. So with polyester, it does make it a little bit bigger than the parachute nylon hammock. Now, my parachute nylon hammock is a bit shorter than this, and it's something I'll be keeping in my summer pack or my hyperlight pack, because without the hardware on my parachute nylon hammock, it's only about 300 grams. This, I should imagine, is somewhere around 500. This is what I really want to try out tonight, is a 9'6" hammock with a ridgeline for sag. Has a little bottle I can click open there, and this is a side pocket that it all comes in, and I already have the bottle system here just hanging out the edge of the hammock ready to put up. Keep my little tent stakes here, the groundhogs, 4 of, I only bring just enough for the actual basher itself. Here's the webbing for the hammock. So I'm going to put the webbing up to this. I need the beaner off my water bottle. Now I can close my water bottle up. Gently put him down there. Snap on to the sewn in looping round the tree. And this then goes through the bottle system. Now hopefully I'll be up and gone pretty early tomorrow morning. I want to be gone before the lads come here and start felling the trees. It doesn't look like there's been much sign of them over the last few days. And I think I might have the basher up tonight because it is so overcast. So let's go and connect up the hammock itself to the webbing. So bottle between the arm steel and the first bottle section, and then over the top, start pulling. There's one side done. I'm just going to test out and adjust the span, and then I'll play about with the sag, and I should be able to get more of a diagonal lie than I ever can do with an 8-foot hammock. This is a restrictor knot, and pull this to that line. I've got my 82% sag, and then I adjust the hammock as I feel I need. I think less than 82% for me will do to give a diagonal sag. You can see how much sag there is with 82%. Polyester hammock, polyester tree straps, 0 stretch. Where I put the hammock is where it stays. With the parachute nylon hammock, it kind of sags under your weight, and depending on what webbing suspension you have, that's going to alter the pitch as well. This is 2 meters 90. Let's just round it off to do the mathematics. Call it 3 meters. 82% of 3 meters is where I want the sag of this. You know, I'm going to shorten the hammock in effect. So 82% of 3 meters. Oh, it's like that. Maybe more. I have tried this diagonal lie out in the testing ground, and it gave me a lot of cartilage under my back. I could feel it. So this is something that I'm going to play about with until I get it just right. I've hardly moved it even half a thumb length, and it's made the world of difference. Right, I'm going to start getting the underquilt on. It's getting cold. There's a head and foot end to an underquilt, especially this one anyway. It's the goose down. I'm only going with goose down from now on. I've tried the synthetic ones. No one can say I haven't given it a go, but in comparison, there is none. It needs all measuring into place and needs all dialing in again. It's not a problem, only takes a minute. And if you do want to know more about down underquilts, we did a night out. I'll try and put a link in it. So dialing in the underquilt now is just a way of getting your underquilt the same pitch and shape as your hammock is, and contouring it. Not bad at all. Only takes a minute or so. That's good enough for me. So a big chunk of the yellow's gone, and even more will go when the green tarp is up, and it will cover the ends up. So this is the first night out I've had with a bottle system. I've got a whoopee system. That's on my lightweight system. This is more for my winter. So why have I gone with a polyester? Look at the state of my nails. Absolutely filthy. Got to clean them. Well, my parachute nylon hammock always feels a little cold to the touch. The actual hammock itself, the material, and I don't know why that is. It's a simple cure. I just use a silk sleeping bag liner, but that's just me. But polyester, I just don't get that damp, cold feeling from this. That's probably something you've never noticed if you've only ever had a parachute nylon hammock and you've had nothing else to compare it to. You might think, oh, it's not that cold, it's not that clammy at all. The minute you have anything else other than nylon, you'll soon discover the instant difference, and there's a lot less stretch with polyester. And finally, tarp time and then brew time. I'm looking forward to that brew time. I have experimented with different cordage for this. Didn't quite work out, but I'm on the right path because it's the season of winds. Not really the right trees for windy conditions. I don't like beech trees at the best of times. And rather than having it splayed wide, I'm coming quite narrow with the tarp and peg it out towards the tree and not out in front. In the summer, I'd pitch out in front. I'd have very, very wide span. Not tonight. Damn, it's raining and I'm nowhere near. I'm gonna have to put the camera down. Okay, we're there. Now, just have a look at the tarp. In the summer, you'd bring the tarp right up to meet the suspension of the hammock, right up there, that sort of height. Mine, well down. Let's come along. You can see it's actually resting on the webbing. I'll get a lot lower to the ground. Less wind is going to get underneath. Brew on, and then we'll have a look at what I've brought out with me. That's good enough. I just need to put the sleeping bag in, and then we'll have a look at what else I brought out with me. Nice woolly hat. I'm forever losing my woolly hats, or they're in other packs. I can never remember where they are, where I put them. Bought another one. This is hat number 3. Seriously losing my mind. I've given some of the painkillers a miss for the past few days, and hopefully my short-term memory will come back, as well as my short-term memory. Right, I'm just going to power up the stove and get this brew on. Then I'm going to lock down camp all the way around, so there's no trip hazards. So I've got my little monocular and have a little look around. Even if it rains now, I'll be okay. I've got the sleeping bag in, ready to go. Oh, and I bought a little air pillow. Now I find with this diagonal lie, there's a pull on my left shoulder, and I don't like it. It always feels on the diagonal lie, I'll show you now, like my head is bent forward like that, with my chin on my chest, and I don't get that in my 8-foot hammock, just this. So a pillow, little air pillow, £1. It's a nice one, and it seems to alleviate that if I put that pillow under my neck and bring my chin up a bit. So I brought with me my basher marker, and it's not a chemical one where you can break it, give it a flick and mark your bash with it. It's LED. I loved this last time I bought it out. A little lantern that I'm going to hang from the actual ridge line. Each of them is a tea light that burns for 3 hours. I've got 9 hours of light. It's going to be a long night. And in my pocket, I think I've got an audio book. Yeah, little MP4 with some books on and podcasts and things like that while it goes dark, you know. There's more brew kit here than there is food, and there always is with me. I'd rather have a love of a good coffee and some sweeties, really, got quite a sweet tooth, than more wholesome food. So while I wait for my coffee to steep, I can start putting things inside the hammock with me, such as my lantern. I can hang my knife on the ridge as well, my glasses on the ridge. I can get a lot done right now while that is steeping, which can take about 2-3 minutes. I got a rock from over there and pushed the groundhogs all the way in, so there's only half an inch or so sticking out, because under any wind tension I don't want the bash coming off that. Now, with having such a low pitch, with it resting on the actual hammock ridge line rather than being way up high, I'd have it like that in the summer, but not in this weather. It does sag in a bit, especially because I've only got the actual tarp about a leg span apart, and in the summer I'd have it splayed open quite wide, sort of this sort of pitch, and that would allow a lot of through breeze to cool you down. This time of the year it's like that. Big difference, big difference. And I've got videos where I've bought this out in the winter and I haven't even put the guys down either. All I've done is velcro it up on the storm doors, and that's it. Rest it on the ridge line and do the velcro up, and it becomes more a hammock sock rather than a tarp. More so on a stealth camp really than a wild camp like this. You have to ensure that your pack is big enough to accommodate everything loose filled, because if the farmer, the gamekeeper, the landowner, anything like that decides to come round and say, right, you, off my land, what is it you meant to say to him? Yeah, just give me a few minutes while I roll everything away in their individual components and put them in little sacks and then neatly put them in my bag. No, hell no. I've got to ensure that all this is going loose filled into here. I've got to know that it fits like that, and I know it does. How do I know? Because I've practiced doing it. Now, I always advocate, if you can get your kit into 45 litres, you should always carry it in a 65. And the reason is simple, the weight just displaces better. And that's what I started doing. I got everything into my 45 litres, then I upscaled it exactly the same contents into 65, and I do the exact thing that I moan at other people doing, is I looked at the pack and went, oh, there's a bit of space there. I'll go upstairs and I'll get my little lantern. Oh, I may as well have my little LED wand while I'm there. Oh, there's a bit more room here. I think I'll put more in. And it's exactly what I say people shouldn't do, because you upscale your pack with the same contents. Don't think you can put extras in, but it's what I've done. But the extras I put in was the LED wand and a lantern. Now the little stool was always going to be coming out regardless of if that was in a 45 or 65 litres. It was always going to be tonight's little treat. And that's a nice little basher marker. I like that. There's the green. I had green last time, just deterred that little vixen fox. I don't want it flashing, that'll attract too much attention and off. but for the lads out in the forces, you know what your chemical basher markers are. Them little LED ones work just as good, you know, you can leave them on all night. They're such low powered. We are losing a lot of light, very grainy. I guess the rest is going to be by torchlight. I don't like filming like that, but I can't help when it is. As you can see, total darkness, a total blackout. Unbelievable, that came around in minutes. I got in just as it was going dark with this diagonal lie. I was sliding down again. I've had to relocate. This is not going to be an easy camp. Well, that's the repitch and I'm in, and I was trying to get too much of a diagonal, I think. Too much, almost 45. As it is now, I've only just kicked my feet to the right of the ridge line and my shoulders to the left of the ridge line here. It feels comfortable enough, and I think I'm going to be warm for the night. I don't know how many more winter camps I'm seriously going to get. That's a little better. Yeah, so it's not that late, I'm in the sack, it's pitch black. My breath is vaporising, it must be coming down 5 degrees, and I'm quite warm. Fair dues. But so far at 5 degrees, the slacker hammock is nice to the touch. The hammock gear under quilt, just toasty warm. Let's see if I can't tweak one or two things. Okay then. Nighty night. Oh man. Ooh, morning. Lot to tell you. I've only just got the hammock how I like it. Only just. It took a whole night. Most of the night was really uncomfortable. I just didn't have it right. The ridge line. I've readjusted it now and I've got it just perfect, but it's too late. I mean, the sun's up. Too little too late. Warm as toast all night. I need a wee and a brew, in that order. So last night I was here. I just had to shift it over in the middle of the night to there. And this is the kind of pitch I don't like. There's my hammock suspension beaner. So it was all put up in pitch black. And look, this is what I don't like. There's just too much scope to let the wind in. That's coming to a boil. So I'm glad I did move down a little bit last night. I found a nice little rain protection under this canopy. It is raining now. The bash hardly got any wet on it last night. The underquilt on the diagonal lie, it was too dark to start making any proper adjustments. The ridge line, I had it at 82% of the length of the hammock. I found that far too tight. I even tried it tighter than that. Yeah, what's up? The actual pitch at the top itself, as you saw, I had to put it into its summer configuration. I was working blind, I had a head torch on, I was doing the best I could, and it started raining quite bad. It was really warm last night. I stripped off last night and that's how I slept. No cold spots, this under quilt from Hammock Gear USA. I can push that even further towards 0 than I thought, I think. I fell asleep about midnight and then woke up at 4. I was uncomfortable, neck, everything. I wasn't comfortable. By the time I'd readjusted the ridgeline, it was about 6. And boy, it was comfy then. I just needed not so much sag. I needed it a little longer, just a bit on the adjustable ridgeline. And I'm going to mark that off as the position I'm personally comfortable at. 82% is a good starting point, but you know, it's not an exact science. The actual material of the polyester hammock, brilliant, brilliant. Although it chilled right down, as you can tell, I'm a bit barky now. Windsor. There was no cold spots on the actual hammock, you know, touching skin. Now I get that a lot in the parachute nylon hammock. Where if the back of my hand touches it, it feels clammy and cold. That's why I use a silk sleeping bag liner, just so I'm not in direct contact with the material. But the material of the polyester hammock, it's okay. But once you get your underquilt on it and the basher on it, it really doesn't matter what colour your hammock is. It really doesn't. I've got bits in my coffee, flies or something. I thought I tasted a big fly, a big dollop of fly. So tonight has been a good test, really, for me. It's a way of shaking down the problem, so next time things like that don't occur. It's velcroed all the way down the front and the back, and the guy out ropes aren't being anchored to the ground but rather go around a tree. Really slim profile. Right, I'm going to have to pack up very, very quickly. The farmer's about, he's on his tractor. It's the first time I've seen him in years. I don't really want to offend him by being on his land without permission. I've been as stealthy as I can, so I don't really want to outstay my welcome. I'm putting everything away just as loose as it can. That's been handy, dead lightweight that, and I didn't fall off it this week. Tarp is just loose rolled. I'm not cramming it into a stuff sack or anything like that. I've learnt a lot. There's a lot that needs addressing also. I'm glad I bought the storm basher, because next time I'm not going to bother in the wind stringing it up. I'm going to use it like a hammock sock in the winter. I'm going to use it like a tarp in the summer. Just 7.8 kilos for all that, including the water. That's good. Anything lower than 10 I'm happy with. My Hyperlight kit currently is around 5.8, and I can't remember if that was with or without water. Unless you're a trained tracker, you're not going to notice it, but it's just an old habit, just covering it up. And that's it again. That underquilt does go with my summer hammock, not the Therm-a-rest that you saw tonight. I just wanted to push the underquilt down yet another season and see when it bottoms out. It hasn't. I think I can take it right down to almost 0, which is good for a summer bag, really good. Crying out loud, it is tipping it down now. Let's get some shelter. Just got out of that in time. Glad I strike down when I did. That was real lucky timing. I'm just going to give it a minute here before I have to cross the field into the village. A lot of lessons learnt there. but next time I'll have learned from them lessons and adjusted the kit accordingly, by adjusting the shock cord on the under quilt, for instance. 72% I think for me for the ridge line, so it's not so bowed like that, the hammock. It's a more gentle splay on it. Things like that, simple things that need adjusting, nothing major. Until next time, take care of yourself, and I will see you next week.